There are so many reasons to be excited for the second movie in the Wreck-It Ralph franchise. Not only do we get to see Ralph and Vanellope von Schweetz back in action, but we get to see tons of other characters from various franchises. We'll tell you which cameos and Easter eggs to watch out for, and give you a sneak peek at what comes next from some of our favorite series. Before we get started, make sure to click on the subscribe button for more videos from The Things. Now, let's begin.
Start churning butter and put on your church shoes, little sister, because we're about to blast off!
We have to admit we've been desperately awaiting the day we could finally see all of our favorite Disney princesses together in one room. And we don't just mean that we've been waiting since the first trailer for Ralph Breaks the Internet was released. For those of us who grew up with Disney, we had been waiting for this day since we were kids. And to find out that not only we were going to see Disney princesses from Cinderella to Moana, but we would also see them interacting with one another and even having a pajama party, we don't think we're overstating it when we say it's a dream come true. The definition of what makes a Disney princess has been pretty controversial. For instance, many people wonder why Elsa and Anna from the movie Frozen aren't often included in this list. Why is Mulan considered a Disney princess, but Megara from Hercules isn't? We won't get into it right now, but the short answer is that it has to do more with merchandising rights than anything else. Elsa and Anna's source material is so popular and so lucrative that they exist in a class all of their own. But still, we see them hanging out with the other Disney princesses, and we even get some particularly exciting news about them. It seems like the instant Frozen came out, fans were already wondering when the second movie would be released. It seems none of us were capable of simply letting it go. In fact, the hype level was so high that it seems we've been waiting for the sequel to Frozen for almost as long as we've been waiting for the Disney princesses to meet. And it seems Disney is well aware of how excited everyone is about it, and just couldn't resist messing with us a little bit in the post-credit scene of Wreck-It Ralph 2. According to a voiceover, we were going to get a sneak peek of Frozen 2, one of the most highly anticipated movies around. We see some animated snowflakes and tons of characters from Ralph Breaks the Internet, but there's just one small problem. Instead of actually providing a preview for the second Frozen movie, we get to hear the characters singing the famous Rick Astley song, Never Gonna Give You Up. Come on, you can't have a movie that takes place on the internet and not expected to get rickrolled. Or maybe in this case, we would say it was wreckroll. We have to admit, Disney really got us good this time. At least we can comfort ourselves with knowing that Frozen 2 is actually going to happen, and we can expect to see it in theaters in 2019. Sure, this was a joke, but it definitely still counts as marketing for Frozen 2, which means we can expect to see actual trailers and teasers in the near future. And if you felt bad for being teased by the Frozen 2 promo, just think about how Wreck-It Ralph voice actor John C. Reilly felt. When the studio decided on the idea, his job was over as far as he knew it, and he had left for vacation with his family. Always a good sport, Reilly traveled all the way to New York City to lend his voice to the movie one last time, before rejoining his family on vacation. Now that's dedication. Speaking of trailers, one of the most amusing scenes from Wreck-It Ralph 2 that we saw beforehand definitely had to be the pancake-eating bunny.
The bunny gets the pancake.
The clip features an adorable cartoon bunny eating pancakes, and Ralph beating it until it explodes. This act terrified the little girl playing the game on her iPad, but it definitely made us laugh. However, surprisingly, we didn't see it in the movie, but if you stuck around after the credits, you got a chance to see it on the big screen. In fact, we even get a pretty funny meta nod to the fact that Disney has a habit of not including marketing material in their films. And if you're a particularly eagle-eyed Disney fan, you may have noticed that the baby looks awfully familiar. If you thought this little girl strongly resembles baby Moana, you're not alone. Disney has been criticized for using similar-looking characters in the past, but this time we have to believe it was on purpose. The voice actress who plays Moana, Auli'i Cravalho, also provided the voice for the baby's mother in Wreck-It Ralph 2. This definitely leads us to believe this was an intentional nod to the movie Moana. The mother calls the baby Mo, which makes us wonder if this is supposed to be a baby Moana. But wait, how can grown-up Moana be inside the internet while baby Moana is playing on a tablet? Well, let's just attribute this to some good old-fashioned Disney magic. The story of why this popular scene didn't make it into the movie is actually pretty interesting. According to producer Clark Spencer, the team felt confident it was going to fit into Ralph Breaks the Internet when the trailer was released. But pretty much as soon as the trailer was released, the scene got cut. Spencer claims stories evolve over time, and this movie changed too much since its inception that Pancake Milkshake just didn't belong any longer. Not only did this scene show up in the trailer, but toys featuring the bunny had already been produced, so the studio pretty much had to include it at some point. Disney has been known for their princesses for decades, but recently they've added even more popular franchises to their repertoire. The company now has the rights to many of our favorite Marvel movie characters. After the events of Avengers: Infinity War, our feelings were pretty raw, to be honest. But needless to say, we're greatly looking forward to the fourth film in the Avengers franchise. Sadly, in addition to everyone who perished when Thanos snapped his fingers, we also said goodbye to someone else who was a hero to many, and that's comic book legend Stan Lee. This comic genius co-created many of our favorite Marvel characters, including Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, and the X-Men. He also became the face of Marvel Comics, and fans look forward to seeing his iconic cameos in many major movies. But in addition to Marvel Studios, he's also made appearances in everything from Mallrats to Big Hero 6.
I wear 'em front, I wear 'em back.
He also made a brief appearance in Ralph Breaks the Internet when Vanellope bumps into him while running from stormtroopers. Although this was simply an animated avatar of Stan Lee, if you're aching for more cameos, you're in luck. Apparently, Stan Lee wasn't much for traveling and preferred to film several cameos on one trip. According to Marvel Studios, he filmed a few prior to his passing. We know he will make an appearance in the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where we will get to see him deliver some dialogue to the protagonist Miles Morales. Marvel fans are hoping this won't be the last of his cameos, and we might even get to see him one last time in the movie Avengers 4. As you probably guessed by the appearance of stormtroopers, Disney also owns the popular Star Wars franchise. There were tons of Star Wars Easter eggs in the movie, but there is one which didn't make it into the final cut of the movie. According to the director Rich Moore, he originally wanted to include a joke about the Star Wars villain Kylo Ren. It was going to make fun of him for being spoiled and childlike, but Moore decided to run it by Lucasfilm first. But perhaps unsurprisingly, Lucasfilm didn't think the joke was particularly funny. They asked Moore not to poke fun at Kylo Ren, out of respect for their franchise. So unfortunately, we know there is at least one joke from Ralph Breaks the Internet, which we'll never get to hear. Speaking of franchises we love from our childhood, Disney also came out with a movie called Christopher Robin, based on the book Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin, the perpetually sad and down donkey Eeyore, is voiced by actor Brad Garrett. Not only do we get to see Eeyore show up in Ralph Breaks the Internet, but he's also voiced by Brad Garrett this time as well.
Princesses and cartoon characters barf!
But if you were paying too much attention to our friend Eeyore, you might have missed some of the other exciting Easter eggs in the scene. In the background, we see Marvel's Iron Man flying by, hopefully getting ready for the fourth Avengers movie. And he's far from the only Avengers reference we spotted. There was Captain America's shield and Iron Man's gauntlet as well. And that's just a few of them. He may not be a superhero, but Pixar fans loved getting to see a version of the company's infamous Luxo lamp. Although with the lack of scale, it's hard to tell if we're looking at Luxo Jr. or Luxo Sr. If you love Pixar movies, you must have been in heaven seeing all the Pixar references in Ralph Breaks the Internet. We spotted Woody and Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story franchise, Eve from WALL-E, and Arlo from The Good Dinosaur. Like pretty much everyone else, we can't wait to see the upcoming movie Toy Story 4. So catching a glimpse of good old Buzz and Woody was particularly exciting. Yes, we admit we're ready to cry our eyes out over a movie about toys all over again. And let's talk about the Disney princesses. Okay, we know we mentioned them before, but this time we're going more in depth.
Have you ever had true love's kiss? Ew, barf! Do you have daddy issues? I don't even have a mom! Neither do we!
Many of the princesses were spotted with items relating to their source material. When Vanellope first encounters Jasmine, she's holding onto the lamp where Genie lived during the movie Aladdin. We also saw the same lamp over at eBay being sold for $30, which is a pretty good deal if you ask us. While Cinderella was ready to do some damage with her iconic glass slipper, we have to say the most hardcore of the Disney princesses was Snow White. And we're sure you remember from the movie, she very nearly lost her life after taking a bite of a poisoned apple. But not only do we see her holding one in her hands without any trace of fear, but she also wears a t-shirt wearing a poison apple on it. We definitely don't remember her being so hardcore, but we're here for it. Hopefully she isn't letting her guard down, because we also spotted a glimpse of the evil queen in the mirror behind her. If you're a fan of classic Disney movies, we bet you noticed that Mickey Mouse was wearing his Sorcerer's Apprentice outfit from the movie Fantasia. There are also so many Star Wars references, it's hard to keep track. In addition to the squadron of stormtroopers, we also saw a Sandcrawler, the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star, a TIE Fighter, an X-Wing, and of course, R2-D2 himself. Inside Walter's office, we spotted tons of classic arcade games including Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Frogger, and Dragon's Lair. On the shelf behind Walter, we also caught a glimpse of Yoda and Chewbacca. Now, we've seen tons of references to other Disney properties, but now let's look at a throwback to the first Wreck-It Ralph movie. At the 1717 mark, we saw the exterior of Litwack's Family Fun Center, complete with a large sign. This displayed the text, "Happy 5th Birthday, Susie." Ralph Breaks the Internet came out 6 years after the first movie, and we spotted an all-too-familiar sight outside of Litwack's Family Fun Center. This time, the sign reads, "Happy 11th Birthday, Susie." Did you notice this happy birthday wish in either of the Wreck-It Ralph movies? Which one of these Easter eggs was your favorite? Be sure to tell us which one you like the best in the comment section below, and then click on the subscribe button to get the latest videos from The Things. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.